It's Women's Month. The inclusion and empowerment of young people, especially young women, remains vital. We Think Code, a software development training academy, is doing its bit to place youth in tech jobs. Let's unpack what they do. I'm joined now by the CEO of We Think Code, Nyari Samushonga. Nyari, good afternoon. Welcome to eNCA, and thank you very much for your time. Let's begin here. What role do you think men can play in advancing women's empowerment in the tech industry? I understand you've mentioned that true empowerment requires collective effort from both men and women. Just elaborate a little bit on the role of men.
Well, good afternoon, Dan, and thank you for having me here. I think essentially the way I see it is that we've arrived at a place where there isn't full inclusion and equity in technology, and this has become normalized. There's a perception that our status quo, where the majority of technical teams, the majority of startup founders that get investment are men. And so with that, with the men in the room have now wrestled some level of power, that my sense is their allyship is needed to change that status quo, to open up, to acknowledge that there's an absence of women in the room, and to be intentional in changing that. It can't just be women on the outside banging to get in and crashing through glass ceilings. Rather, the men should be making the point to say, we need the women's voice at the table. There is an insight that is not represented. There's an expertise that is not at the table. And in truth, that women are peers on this level. That's my sense, at least.
Yeah, okay. But the other issue I'm sure that you'd know a lot about is a question of funding in terms of resources that are available and how they are used, but also in terms of red tape that exists, you know, in this world, generally in our country as well. How do you, as We Think Code, navigate around some of these challenges?
So we're a software development academy. Our focus is really on building a tech economy within South Africa that's representative and that's inclusive, and that's across gender as well as socioeconomic background. So at the core of what we do is we seek funding from corporate partners, from philanthropists, from foundations, in order to be able to provide our training tuition-free. And by offering tuition-free training and recruiting on the basis of capability through bespoke aptitude testing, we actually have a 52% representation of women in our cohort, which is unheard of in tech. 20% of tech jobs are taken up by women, and 2% of venture capital money into startups actually goes into women-founded businesses. So the model that we've taken, which emphasizes aptitude and which emphasizes removing financial barriers to entry, enables us to recruit on the basis of who is interested in technology, who has a passion for it, and who's competent. And in so doing, essentially what we're achieving is leveling that playing field and proving the thing that we all suspected to be true, that women are as competent in terms of the cognitive ability for it, as passionate in terms of the right drive to see it through, and have a lot of things to contribute to the space. And so this success has been in partnership with organizations like the Momentum Metropolitan Foundation and others that have funded the inclusion of women into our academy. And so we're excited about that. And we invite others to take on that shift around inclusion, not just as a concept we talk about in Women's Month, but as an integral part of how they make decisions around who gets to sit at the table.
Yeah, I mean, absorption rates, I don't know how they have been, because one of the challenges is you could prepare young people for a future, but then they finish whatever program they do and they are not absorbed and they still have to battle. What's been We Think Code's experience, just broadly? Oh, we've lost that connection there.
I'm sorry, Dan, I think I might have lost you there for a moment.
Yes, you're back, thank you. Yes, we did lose you there. I was saying absorption rates, what has been We Think Code's experience? Because sometimes programs like yours and others would prepare young people for the world of work, and then when they complete, there's no absorption. What have you experienced as We Think Code, very briefly?
86% of the graduates coming out of our academy are ending up employed in South African businesses. And that's as much about making sure the training is demand-led, so training for what the market needs, as well as putting wraparound support that ensures that technically competent young people have the soft skills to integrate into the businesses that look to hire them.
86% is quite a good high rate. Final question to you. I mean, when you train a young person, you're enabling them in the We Think Code space, either to be coders or programming, whatever you prepare them for. The impact, in fact, is bigger than just the individual. Am I wrong?
Absolutely. I mean, the average South African household has 5 people in it, and it's believed that one South African income looks after 10 individuals collectively. So by identifying young people from underserved communities and equipping them with the skill to join the economy in jobs that are upwardly mobile, we're actually lifting up the base of a segment of our society that's desperately needed to be economically active, economically mobile, and have the agency to break cycles of poverty. So this is the importance of inclusion, and absolutely the importance of equity and absorption within the tech sector, but to be honest, across the entire economy.
Thank you very much for your time, and all the best to you at We Think Code. That's the CEO of We Think Code, Nyari Samushonga. Your weather is up next, and then at the top of 5, I'll bring you the very latest headlines here on eNCA.